Welcome back to Time Freedom Daily. This is your daily dose of business building, motivation, investing, everything in between. We'll sprinkle in a little crypto, we'll sprinkle in a little finance, all kinds of different things here to help you get to your goal of time freedom on a daily basis. Chris, how you doing today, brother?
I am great. I got my new mic here. Look at that. Check
Woohoo!
that out. You guys can hopefully you can hear me better.
Yes, sounds beautiful.
Awesome. So do
Absolutely.
you have a good weekend?
I had a great weekend.
Oh, good.
The markets on the crypto side were a little up and down, but they
They
ended up
sure
last night
were.
pretty good. Down a little bit today, but still we're still in the green, and
Absolutely. Let me bring those
we're
up. You can kind of go over
yep
that.
we're ramping up here. Bitcoin flirted with 67,000 over the weekend last night. A few coins hit some all time highs, but again we're still in the green slightly. It's down just a bit. Binance has been strong. Um,
Hmm.
There we go. Solana, we're up a little bit there. Again, just we're taking a breather. Let's put it that way. Over the weekend, I really thought potentially we could have had a strong pullback because we had a rejection of the spot ETF, which we all kind of
Right.
knew it was going to happen. And that spot ETF is where you can invest in Bitcoin with the actual price, and it's not on futures or anything else like that. We'll go into the market cap. Market cap is just over 2.9 trillion. It still feels right now that 3 trillion is that bit of resistance. And once we break through that, it's just a matter of time.
Hmm.
We're going to see 4 trillion pretty quick.
Yep.
And volume is down slightly. From last week, we're at 85 million. I'm sorry, 80. Yeah, I'm sorry, 80. Yeah,
86
85 and a
billion.
half, 86 billion, excuse me. And Bitcoin dominance is right around 41%, right around where it has been. And Ethereum is holding steady. But again, right now, going sideways is
Hmm.
not a bad thing.
Right.
Going sideways in the market, it keeps things from overheating, right? Things get re-spooled up, they get better. It gives you a kind of a jumping off point to the next leg up. So going sideways is definitely never a bad thing. The
Hmm.
markets, traditional markets, Chris, how are they looking right now?
Let me pull those up. Traditional markets are here. They're also pretty flat. The Dow Jones is up 0.07. The Nasdaq is down zero point 0.4, and the S&P is down 0.07. So pretty flat on those. Tesla dipped back under 1,000, which we kind of saw that coming as well. So
Mm-hmm.
so everything's kind of just playing at a careful Monday. Actually, I heard an interesting phenomenon about the markets and Thanksgiving, and in between Thanksgiving and the next week or so, just about people, families get together and somebody will discuss this or discuss that, and so we might be seeing a little bit of that. Thanksgiving is coming up next week in the
Mm-hmm.
U.S., so I don't know if that's affecting it or not, but I'd never really heard that before, but I thought that was pretty interesting.
For sure, for sure. And also remember, first of the year, that's when a lot of institutions, people that are investing in their IRAs, will go ahead and put money in the market. So a lot of
Hmm.
times we see first of the year a lot of momentum as other institutions, banks, and people in that mind today, now might have a little bit of or again sideways trading. But right now, Plan B is still feeling that $98,000 Bitcoin by the end of this month is still on the card. And look,
Absolutely.
it definitely can happen. We've seen parabolic moves. We've seen $10,000 days previously,
Hmm.
and
Oh yeah,
it happens. So, what was
certainly
this
have
question
heard.
here? Read that question
So
for me.
Jaron, how do you think Bitcoin and other currencies are going to fare out if the government decided to increase interest rates and curtail inflation?
Okay, so I have a pretty strong network of people that are telling me that interest rates, if they do increase, it's not going
Hmm.
to be like 1%. It's going to go a quarter of a percent, right? So quarter, wait a while, another quarter. So interest rates may increase over the next year, but I don't believe it's going to be in a way that's going to be so impactful that I understand what it feels like. I mean, we're still really
Right.
low in the mortgage rates. So if it pops up 1/4% or an eighth of a percent, it's not a thing. Inflation, on the other hand, which is really high,
Hmm.
to try to curtail that right now, you know, I don't understand it enough to understand how they can slow it so dramatically that it would do anything. But here's the thing that houses,
Hmm.
land, gold, silver. Everybody thinks scarcity. No, there's loads of houses. There's still loads of land out there. Maybe not in the South Florida area, but in other places, tons and tons of gold out there that hasn't been mined yet. Tons and tons of silver. There's still only going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever. It is the most scarcest
Right.
asset that we are investing in right now. And
Hmm.
banks and people are kind of behind this a little bit. And we started it, but banks are the big money right now, going to be investing in money out of other assets that are not scarce and putting it into something that is scarce, which is Bitcoin. And we're seeing it. We're seeing the mass adoption. We're seeing adoption all over the world. Countries, legal currency, ATMs going in all through Walmart, Burger King and all these places they're using cryptocurrency now. It's not going anywhere. And regulation is actually a good thing. So let's not be scared
Hmm.
of regulation. It sets the ground rules. It sets the rules in which we want regulation. We don't want over regulation, but we want regulation. So, I don't think the increase in interest rates is going to happen at a rate in which it's going to really be felt. So that's kind of my answer. Again, I'm not a financial expert. This is not
Right.
financial or investing advice. This is just my opinion. So hope I answered that question a little bit there.
Yeah. I think that was awesome.
Yeah. So today is what, Motivation Monday. Starting that week
It
off right.
is.
And
It is. It is. And we interviewed somebody last week. We interviewed Janetta last week and our friend Casey a couple of weeks ago, and both of them brought up a good point that people just watching this, they are wanting to go
mhm.
someplace. And so I kind of wanted to tie in our motivational Monday segment with people that are in this to get a little bit better at their own craft, or to build their own craft and start their own craft to begin with. And so a couple of the things that I wanted to talk about were things that I learned, thankfully, very early on, and they are fairly universal with whatever you're doing. It helped me in the restaurant industry. It helped me in the sales industry. It helped me now as an entrepreneur. So a couple different things I wanted to bring up, and I was blessed. Franklin Covey was they had stores in New York. I don't know if they're in South Florida or wherever y'all are watching from. Franklin Covey used to be a store, and they used to sell like a day planner, like a little book, and then they moved into the electronic age, and they had little Palm Pilots, and they sold basically. Yes, they sold the hardware, but their principle was organizing your time. And one of the companies I was with blessed us with going and taking their course. It was a $1,500 2-day course. And the one lesson really stuck with me. And they made us all sit down in the class. And you guys can do this. If you have a piece of paper, grab a piece of paper. And the instructor got up and she said, okay, take the piece of paper in front of you, write down 5 names. Write down somebody you work with, write down maybe a customer, write down maybe a friend, write down maybe a family, write down one other person. 5 people from all walks of life. Try this sometime. Trust me. We all wrote down, she gave us like 2 minutes. We all wrote down 5 names. And then she said, okay, she's like, I hate to bring this up, but imagine you are on your way home from this class and the plane goes down, the car crashes, the train crashes, you don't make it home. You pass away on your way home from this class. What are those 5 people going to say about you at your funeral tomorrow? And it was like, wow. And she's like, that's how you need to conduct yourself every day. With the thought process, what are these people? What is your lasting impression? How are you changing these people's lives? Are they going to say, that guy was an a-hole, he deserved to go down? Or are they going to say, wow, what a shame, like, he was or she was such an amazing person, she helped so many people all the time? That has stuck with me. I took that class, a long time ago, probably 15, 20 years ago. I took that class. I was very young, and took it just when I was kind of breaking out into the corporate world. I was doing very well. And that was a very powerful thing. And I think of that all the time, whether I'm dealing with somebody at the grocery store, or whether I'm dealing with, anybody, helping my team, helping a new customer, whatever it is, like, I really think of that. Have you ever heard of that before, John? That
Absolutely.
little example?
So you got to leave people feeling a certain way about you in a positive way. Otherwise, that's what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember,
Hmm.
right, all of, good, bad, or indifferent things you've done previously. What is the last impression that you left them with? So you
Right.
really want to try to leave people with that, and that's how you're building your image.
Yep.
Whether we're
Exactly.
at our job, whether we're having our own little business on the side, whether we're a big business owner, you know,
Hmm.
people respond to how they're treated by you. And if you're not treating them well, you're probably not going to
Right.
have really good results.
Yep.
I remember something I really stuck with me, and it was about the way the term customers are already always right. I think I
Hmm.
mentioned this on a stream in the
Hmm.
past, and it, the customer is not necessarily your most important cog in your business. If you have employees, your employees are. You got to treat your employees right,
Yep.
right? Because then they're going to treat your customer right. And so it's a chain reaction. So you know that's got to be the focus of building yourself up, is making sure you're becoming that person that people can look at and say, that's a good guy, or a good
Right.
woman, or whatever it is. So
Well,
absolutely love
absolutely.
it.
And I love that. I was in corporate America at the time, and there's no love lost for corporate America. But I was really blessed that they actually spent the money for us to go to this thing. It was an incredible 2-day course. Loved it. But that lesson stuck with me for, like I said, years and years and years, and I think of it all the time. And that's really one of my core principles in building who I was, my brand. And that's one of the things that it seems commonsensical, but it's one of the things that people need to step back and look at your brand, look at what you're doing. Look at sports teams. We're in South Florida, so you look at, like, the Dolphins. Our football team. When people are at the game, or tailgating, or before the game, after the game, all of those thousands and thousands of people that are there have very little else in common other than their love for that one brand or that team. That team, most teams have been able to create a community, and people come together for that one event. The power of community and the power of building a brand that big is immense. Because you don't need to search out a specific niche. People will start to follow you. People start to follow the Dolphins. People start to follow, like, my dad has been an Oakland Raiders fan for a million years. He's never lived in Oakland, but because the Oakland Raiders have built that powerful community and that powerful brand, you don't need to be from Oakland to follow them. Same thing as the Dolphins. The Dolphins have fans here as well. And building that brand, I actually brought up. I was telling John about this before our stream. Apple and Steve Jobs' idea to build a phone. He never wanted to build the best phone. And actually, let me bring something up for you guys, because I actually looked this up. I had heard about this. Um, look at down here. Apple R&D is spending his way up. When Steve Jobs was the CEO of the company, he spent just 628 million on R&D, 2% total revenue. That is a fraction of what other companies were spending R&D. Even this year, they said that Apple could still be underinvesting in R&D. Apple never wanted to build the best phone. They still don't. People will argue with me all day long, iPhone versus Samsung or versus whatever. Apple's idea was never to build the best phone. Apple's idea, which is what Steve Jobs did even with his computers, was to build a community. And he did that. Apple is able to spend a fraction, less than 2% of the revenue on R&D, where Samsung is spending 11% on R&D. And Apple still has people lined around the block, literally waiting overnight to get that phone the first day it comes out. Why? Because they've built that community. And that is, that's one of the most powerful things. And you and I talk about this all the time, John. Like in our business, building you is so powerful.
For sure. For sure. If you're not taking the time to figure out how to help others, right, and portray yourself in a way that is respectful and honorable, then you pretty much have lost.
Right.
People want to do business with people they like and respect and trust. So if you don't have that, you really have nothing when it comes to moving forward, because I have many friends that have built their business via advertising, that have had to advertise a lot to get business. And then I've got friends that have built businesses on word of mouth advertising, on doing a job, doing it right, and just being referred to the next person without spending a dollar.
Absolutely.
And so, neither one is wrong. You can do the first, you can do the second,
Sure.
the referral based business and still advertise. But can you imagine if you had to just advertise? And, I'm going to share just a brief story. So in my landscape business that I did not own, the one that I work for, the business model was to market and sell, which is my job. And we use subcontractors to do the work, which as a GC, a lot of times that's, general contractor, when you're building houses, that's how it goes. You're not necessarily the one being the builder. You're the one that has a license, and you get all your trades, your plumber, your mason, your whatever, and you build a house through that way.
Right.
In landscaping, we had the infrastructure. We did the management, the billing, the sales, the customer contact. So we were good at that. But when you had a subcontractor that didn't do the job that they were doing, it made me, as the business developer and account manager, look horrible. So I became, and it really stung, in which really pushed me to go do something different, stung me because my integrity, my face-to-face with my customer was being questioned because of something that was outside of my control. So that's a struggle, right? So when you have no control over it, there's nothing really you can do, and you smile and you make excuses and you say, I'm sorry, but you look like, and I hate to use this terminology because there's probably some really good people out there that do this, but the metaphor or the analogy is a used car salesman. Somebody in that lot on the side street that's trying to sell you a car that they know is broken, and they put a new paint job on it or wax the paint and sent you on your way. And then as soon as you drive off the lot, you got no recourse.
Absolutely.
So, but with us, with our persona, we have complete control. So make the right choices to present yourself and communicate with people on the level that you would want to be communicated with in the first place. We don't call it the golden rule for anything. Treat others as those you want them to treat you. That's the it sounds so rudimentary and basic, but in the world of social media, in the world of text messages, in the world of emails, when you really I can't look at you, Chris, and say, well, what's his body language saying? What is he really saying in this text? Is he really smiling? Or is he like holding up the middle finger at me with a smile behind the email or the text message or the comment on social media, right?
Right.
So we have to be careful of that as well. So, but present yourself in a way that you would want to be received.
Right.
is really what I'm getting at. And, going around the block here a second, or two, but that's really what it comes down to. You gotta be
No,
the
you're right.
one
And
that
that
you
was
want to be in the right.
right. And that is exactly it. And that was really my point of this whole thing right from the start to finish is, go through that little exercise. Realize that, what you do today and how you treat everybody. And they always say treat the janitor the same way you would treat the CEO. Good principle. How you treat everybody is your own personal brand. And that gets into whatever business you're in, whether you're a realtor or network marketing or running a restaurant or whatever it is, running a landscape company. It's all the same. You are your own brand, and it is a very powerful thing. People buy, and it's funny because you brought up used car salesperson. I was thinking of that in my head because I did that for a lot of years. New cars, used cars, whatever. I was in the car business, and it was very true. And I did very well in that business because I brought my brand there. I was still the
Mhm.
same guy. I wasn't trying to make a sale. I was trying to solve somebody's problem, which is, pretty much what John and I talk about every day in our lives. We're not salespeople. We solve problems. If you look at things that way, you're always going to be pretty successful. And even in the car business, I brought that philosophy over. And same thing, if I knew that if I met that customer I had today a year later, what would they say about me? What was my lasting impression? Did I treat them right? Did I treat them as if I were family? Did I treat them like they were my family? And so my personal brand has always been that. And when I have changed careers or when I have gone out on my own as an entrepreneur, I have gained success relatively quickly because that was always my brand. And that was kind of my message for today, you guys, is
Mhm.
is your own personal brand is a very powerful thing. And it's you can start building it again. People have made mistakes in the past and rebuilt it. That is okay. But just realize the power of your own personal brand and carry that forward. So do you have any other messages
Absolutely.
you want to share, John?
I don't. Short and sweet. I mean, it seems like it's rudimentary and basic, but some people
You
don't
need
get
that
it. Some
reminder
people don't. Sometimes you just need a little refresher, reminder
all the time.
of doing that stuff. So I just want to make one comment, folks. If you are commenting on Facebook or the socials, we do see it. But unfortunately, from our platform, we can't reply to you here. So we'll try to answer that. And Sharon, I did see your comment on our thing about the customers. So, I just want to make sure that you all know that we're not ignoring you, but on this platform, we can't reply to the socials. And remember, please like and subscribe, share this out there. And, it was a short, simple message. And we just need to get out there and remind people that.
Absolutely. I agree. And you guys make today amazing. And we will see you guys again soon on the next episode of Time Freedom Daily.